welcome to episode 1 of the Iron Teeth of this new series. I'm not entirely sure what we're going to call this one as yet, but with any luck, I'll get an epiphany at some point throughout. Probably need to do something to relate to the Iron Teeth and also for the giant boomerang. So, not entirely sure. I mean, it's not really a boomerang, is it? I suppose it's a plane glider. I'm going to say this will be Iron Glide City for now, but better names are possible. So we're going to leave that as that. Immediately pause it. So this is also a hard mode playthrough. I've picked this map here, which can't really zoom out too much. Let's just see if we can't fix that. Let's just find the camera so we can move it to wherever we want to be, and dev mode off. There we go. So you may or may not have seen this one before in other playthroughs by other people, but yeah, I've seen this one also before a few times, but we're gonna see how we fare on this. So let's have a quick scoot around. So a bad one's up here, which will be very handy for power. And again, we're in the Iron Teeth, so that is good news for us. We've also got a mine and very limited amount of scrap metal down there. Loads of scrap metal up here. Teeny tiny bit here, but there is a little path to it. And some more up here. Looks to be some hidden bad water area around here. There's some nice rock formations. Very nice. And seems to be the only water sources are these ones. So let's see how we fare on this map, shall we? So first things first, as ever, we need to get the basics sorted, which is pretty much going to be we need wood, and we need food, and we need water. It's not exactly unusual to see people do that, but we can sort of get that started pretty much straight away. I mean, not entirely sure we should be paused for this, but I'm going to leave them paused for now. So I'm going to chuck that in, and with any luck, we should also be able to get this built. So we get that laid in. We zoom in a little bit so we can actually see. And obviously path these up. And for now, I'm hoping there's enough space in the colony to get water just straight out of this, because I don't particularly want to get all of the planks wasted yet. So this thing's going to take 12. Obviously, we have nothing. So we are going to pick these clean. This guy has some range up here. So after this, it's going to be farming, but before we unpause it, and again, promise it's not cheating to plan this far ahead by pausing time, at least in my eyes anyway. Could be wrong, not sure, but feel free to tell me I'm wrong in the comments down below. So we will get those set up. That should buy us enough logs to get at least this built, and we can getting some berries into this. Now let's get them up to speed. I'm going to put it on single speed for now, because again, first time on hard mode. This episode, or the episodes for this one, I'm going to try and make them a little bit shorter. I think the hour run-throughs were maybe a little bit too much. However, we'll just see how they play out, because I don't really time them that well, to be fair. I don't cut anything out, so everything is as played, and that's definitely 100% not because I'm too lazy to cut out all of me going ums and ers and ahs and oohs. However, it also is very much that. So with that, we should get some beavers in here. They should start cutting, and once we have the wood and the berries, think the Beavers won't have too much to do, but they should be able to get this built fairly soon, I hope. But in the meantime, we also need to get something for farms, which we will just chuck here because it's no, I'll put it there because we're not putting too much into the farming area, but this is going to pretty much be the thing that keeps us alive for as long as possible. We are also going to need to look at getting dams in, but they are probably going to be something that comes probably as we start digging into these trees here rather than anything else, to be fair. So this should get the priority, which it definitely should be. But let's look at crops, and we are going to go with the most basic of basics. Get as much of that grown as humanly possible. So we already have the dams, so we don't need to worry too much about it, but if we was going to do anything in terms of getting them down here, it's going to be a problem for us. I am going to stick in this path so that we don't get any barriers there, because I want to build it as close this way as possible. There's going to be quite a few here, which I could lay out actually, so I'll just do that now. But these are very much low priority. If we have the woods, I'll happily let them get to it. So it looks like we've got the starter logs coming in, which is perfect. And they should be able to keep on top of that fairly well, to be fair. So, works for me. So, the goal of this map is, like the last one, I'm not planning to build anything particularly fancy or massive or special, because this is the second full game of Timberborn I've ever played. So, I managed not to kill the colony on normal last time with the folk tails, this is the iron teeth. However, we will see how hard mode gets me, so quite excited. Obviously not killing an entire civilization of beavers is important, so these first few episodes are probably going to be fairly short, sweet, and the usual standard basics. But what we do need to worry about sooner rather than later is this becoming a bad tide. Now we're going to get quite a few droughts, I think, through first, but we do need to get something to stop this being a problem. Now, in the short term, I don't think we have any options. We're just going to have to grin and bear them and look at the destruction of everything that comes through it. So we will probably lose all these trees, but again, we could just cut them down. But we are going to need to find some protected place to at least keep trees alive and crops. And this area here is probably not going to be it longer term. Looking about, there's no ideal place in this area, I don't think. Certainly nothing that's majorly protected anyway. Let me just make this the most important job the entire colony has, and hopefully with that they can get some water pumped tomorrow. So the days are still set to 16 hours. I am going to increase that just for the fact that at this stage we need to get as much done as possible without, you know, causing them too much issue. What I will do over here, this will be a mini industrial area. I think it's the safest place for us to do that. There's not too much over here that's worth worrying about, but we can have that when this path comes in. The main goal is going to be stairs. They are the thing that's going to be the most useful thing to get around this map, given the fact everything's on a multitude of levels. Certainly getting down to stuff. We can get some early doors metal if we wanted to, but I don't think we need to look at that quite yet. And then it's just a case of clearing the areas to get around. This would be a fairly decent area for some industrial stuff too, but I think it's a bit out of our reach in the short term. But with any luck, this will get finished off tomorrow. There's not enough logs in stocks to do it, but we've still got nice big holes here. So let's just put this on triple speed through the night because nobody wants to watch the beavers sleep for that long. So while we're waiting for this, I'll leave it on triple speed. There's probably not too much to sort of see. However, what are these 20? So we need 100 logs for that. Sorry, 80 logs. Maths is hard, which we will not get from here. But we do have these going in now, so that is good news. We are going to need to look at storage for things, and I think we should probably just get these set up sooner rather than later. These shouldn't take too long to grow. I am going to push it back though. Just going to put that there and out of the way. Let's try and find them in here. Kohlrabi's is here. So this will sustain them, but it won't give them too much joy and benefit out of it. But that is something we can fix later on. The other thing we will need is science. Maybe not quite the number crunching, that's probably a bit too far in the future. But we do need these. We do have a spare beaver, which I think for all intents and purposes we may as well just throw them up here. I'm just going to build the one for now, as we need to really get a rocket up them to get this done as soon as possible, certainly for stairs and maybe even these platforms. Not so much the double and triple. So need 170 science, which is going to take them a fair while to get that through. However, we should be fully staffed. Yeah, which we are. So we do have a spare beaver. So with that, it's going to be another one of these, please. That's probably going to see the back of those logs, to be fair. Let's just... Yeah, so let's mark these as well. We can reach them all anyway, so that's fine. And I think we're going to need to also do something about water storage. So again, trying not to do too much too quickly. So we definitely need this built first. These can wait. So if there's enough water in here for the short drought that the first one's hopefully going to be. Don't think we'll be seeing 30 days on the first drought. Although you never know. We don't need to be across here. So for down here, we are going to need, there's the first drought of day 5. So we've got just over a week before in our first cycle. It's not too much. So yeah. Looks like another beaver's grown up, but I don't really have anything for them to do. So let's just chuck them in there, I think. So we're almost out of wood up here, but they should be able to get around and get all of that sorted for us. There's a decent little place I've just spied here for some bad water, but again, we are about 1 million miles from that as we could possibly be. But good to be storing more water now. This is going to be the thing that keeps us going or not. So I am just going to get another one in. And I'm hoping that's enough. So with any luck, they should be harvesting these. And we start leaving the berries alone. We do also, which reminds me, we also need to breed more beavers. And that is done. I'm not quite sure where. But somewhere in here. is the breeding pods. Now I'm not too sure where they are. Again, first time on this one. Aha, here we go. We do need these should we wish to not kill the beavers. So I'm also going to place one of those. That should hopefully keep enough beavers going for us to get what we need sorted for in terms of future generations. Got another spare beaver, so thankfully they can get thrown into there. Looks like we're eating the kohlrabies as quickly as we can grow them, which is fine for now. I do want this to be done, which it is, and this now should be the last thing for them to do. So we could just chuck in the path for this. And again, what was I saying? Power. We need to think about getting this sorted. So we are going to need, not desperately, but certainly sooner rather than later, power. Because we are going to need the lumber mill. So we may be running a bit too fast, so I'm just going to pause this for now and... no, that's fine. I don't need to pause that, but I don't want them to build too much at once. And then we could build a beaver out of here and make them a lumber beaver. We also do get advantage of being able to get around here for an extra. There we go. That's the first drought. That should hold the water in here at least, so this area will dry out. The farm stays green, which is exactly what we wanted. Oh, they actually built that already. Crikey, that was fast. All right, get that sorted. I was going to say there's a million trees down here, so let's get this pathed in because we're going to need it. And I'll just run this way for now. Okay, maybe not quite to there, because I want to put in a lumberjack down here. This should have the range for everything. Now this should give us a decent amount of spare lumber, as there's some oaks here that are going to be very handy. At least in the short term. They do reach over there, so let's just also mark these ones. But we won't get too much out of those. Next list on the purchase is also going to be a forester, which actually is a hell of a lot cheaper than I thought it was. And I think that surprised me last time. But again, we need the planks, so they're kind of a bit of a pointless purchase until this is done. We are out of logs, so with any luck, they could be paused. One of them should come over here and get these sorted to get this built. So it does require quite a lot of wood, and we need to be very careful with what we throw into this, because if we build too much, it's going to be a problem. So I'm not going to build any storage for it, because I want to get the science up, which I think we now have actually. So the next thing is going to be this. Very much yes to a forester. Now, the problem we've got is, where do we put it without killing our trees? Now, there are a couple of ways we can do it, but I think in the medium term, we need to rely on this and the berries still. So from a tree farming point of view, we can just chuck it here, I think. But we need to be careful that we don't go too quickly. What I think is going to be best, if we put it this side, it's probably a bad move for us. However, this is kind of pointless right now, so I'll just pause it. So we can't build this, but they can at least start putting the logs into it. But we can get some of these marked for cutting, so what I will do is just say cut down half of this and get in. Should reach. So up here, this is probably the better area to put the trees and the farms. Not entirely sure how high the contamination is going to crawl up that hill. However, what I'm going to do is put some levees in eventually. And with these, I'm just going to build with a fluid dump, which is going to cost us some extras as well, which is the 250. So there's quite a lot for that one, plus the levies. But with that, we can possibly build in just a little bit here, fill it, and that should greenify a lot of the area. The trees will survive, and we'll build probably pines to start with. Worry about getting the mighty oaks in later. So that is the drought almost over. With that, I'm going to unpause that. We have all the logs in, so we just need some of those to keep this working for us. Now, there's plenty of wood over here with these oaks anyway, so it's not too much of a concern to ripping these ones out. So we're also, as I said before, going to look at stairs because these get us out and about. And then these platforms are going to be needed to get us probably up 2 steps if we need to. So I don't really want to buy them now, but I am going to, because if I don't, I'll forget and I'll buy something else and I'll desperately need platforms. So there's enough power for this, I think. But we are down some beavers, so let's just take 2 out of there. That should be 2 in there. Good. We've got water. We have some actual stored kohlrabies, which is good, and whatever we are for berries. Now these are probably going to take quite a few berries, to be fair, so we might need good storage for those extra berries, and maybe even plant some with this guy later. But I think here is where we're going to build the levees and the fluid dump. Maybe a bit of a bad idea this early on, but we'll see. But with this, we're hopefully... So we get 13 in here, which is... Oh, well, never mind. This is done anyway. So that's fine. As we're not building anything, let's knock that guy down. And then let's get some trees planted up here. Can never hit the right button. Please plant me some pines. And once these come into play, they should... Oh, we're pretty much now guaranteed that we're not going to run out of wood, short of a million-day bad tide. So in that case, nothing will grow and we're in trouble. But don't think that's how the game's going to treat us, at least at the start. I hope. So looks like we've lost the first beaver, unless there's been any on here that I've missed. However, we do have a baby, so I believe they are fresh out the press. It looks like it. So this obviously is already placing the beavers that are dying. So right now, obviously, their well-being is terrible. Their shelter is terrible. They have broken teeth. We probably should fix that. I guess it's probably... Let's put that there. And that should fix whoever's got the broken teeth. So wood continues to go up because of these, which is fine. There are some extra oaks down here, which is good. So I do hope they aren't actually that hungry. There's water down here for you to drink, so hopefully that's not good. Right. I am going to put some more water storage in because it's going to be wise to. didn't even set that. There we go. Water, thank you. And more water. That is quite a lot of logs, but I think that water will be very handy. We're not going to see a massive population explosion with this. So, with that, I think what we can do is just go up to the sort of the next season change, and then I'll probably cut it there for these shorter episodes. Be about half an hour, 40 minutes ish. What we can get them to work on next time, I think, is coming up onto some of these plateaus and trying to really figure out how to survive a bad tide up here. And I think it's going to be hitting the science to get levees and whatnot built. So what's that going up? 1. That covers all of that. So yeah, that's 2. So we have. So it probably covers. Well, it should cover that actually. So if the trees are planted, we can greenify this area, and that this becomes farm as a thing. Then that should at least protect these trees. Maybe move them up 1. Don't know. We'll see. But it's just growing our numbers at this point and keeping those numbers alive. What I will lay down though quickly is another medium warehouse. That's the best place to stick this thing. I guess here. For now, at least. And this is going to be for berries. If I can find them. Oh, there they are. So we can get this emptied. They can harvest this. It's probably wise putting a gatherer flag down here as well. They should get berries. We can also use the stairs to get down into this, and this could be where we grow mangroves if we want to get that far. So where are we for levies? So they're 120. So let's just unlock those as we're going to need them. I really should have put that there in hindsight, but whatever. Going to have to potentially be an imperfect shape. We could build it up here actually, because we do have stairs, we do have planks as well, so that's okay. Yeah, so oops. Let's get rid of that. I'm hoping that will cover a lot of it. That someone's going to get trapped in here. I just know it. So before that is a problem, I'm just going to pause that one. This is a lot of wood, I will admit. But this fluid dump's going to be our next purchase. Don't have too far to go, but yeah. We are losing a fair number of beavers at this point because they have terrible well-being, so it may be that this needs to be dropped in priority. And we need to get some housing in. Let's just see, these are all on the ground, I believe, looking at that. So I think for now, the best place we can put these is just down here. So that's another drought. So let me just lay this in. How much does this sleep? 10. Yeah. Technically need some more, but yeah. In fact, let's just mark these to be gutted also. Should be able to reach. This should cheer up some of the beavers at least. But yeah. So with that and the shorter episodes, I think we're going to leave it at that for this episode. He says continuing to do stuff. However, the so far, the droughts are going to only get worse, but they're not too bad at the minute. There's enough water in here to keep pumping, I think, for the 5 days. Even if we run out, I think these last a fair while. They tell you on these now, don't they? 2 days. Maybe we'll just pause that. There we go. So yeah, with that said, thanks for watching the first episode of this. If you have a better name than what I've called them, then please feel free to let me know in the comments. I will take most names within reason. Something iron related and something related to the wonder would be good. But yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.